I'm Angela Bull, the CEO of the Independent Book Publishers Association, and I'm here in New York City at BookCon 2017 talking with one of our amazing publishers and authors and writers, this guy right here. This is Jason Edwards. He is the author of a new book coming out next month called Will Allen and the Terrible Truth. This is the fourth book in the Chronicles of the Monster Detective Agency, as I understand it. And again, it comes out next month from Rogue Bear Press. We're really excited about it. We're going to talk a little bit about it today. Stars a great kid named Will Allen. And Will has conquered lots of things, but he's come up against something new in the fourth book of the series. And what is that?
Well, Will Allen has, in the initiation book, in the initial book of the series, he learns how to conquer monsters. He's faced horrible creatures of all kinds. He's conquered monsters. He survived his mother's cooking, but now he faces something that all of his bravery and cleverness, he's powerless against. Dealing with girls.
Like any true middle school kid.
Or, middle school children who never developed past that stage.
A grown adult, right. So he's gone through a lot of changes, I said. I mean, we mentioned this is the fourth book in a series, and you were talking about how he's conquered monsters. There's something interesting about the monsters that he has to conquer, though.
Yes. Well, all of the monsters are manifestations of fears and other powerful emotions. Literally, fear has come to life. In the first book in the series, Will learns how to conquer the monsters from the great monster detective. He learns he has to literally confront these fears in order to conquer the monsters. As we progress through the series, he becomes so good at conquering his own monsters that he becomes the monster detective, helping other of his peers deal with their own fears and anxieties that have come to life. So that's how he got started doing what he's doing. And the point of all of this is, even though for the kids who are reading it, they're just fun fantasy mystery adventures, they're also subtly lessons in learning to deal with fear and anxiety.
So tell me a little bit, Jason. I understand the inspiration for this series is a story that you've told before.
Everything is a story.
Yeah.
Everyone is always fascinated when they hear that this entire book series was inspired by a toilet.
You're going to elaborate.
Oh, well, if I have to, I suppose people want to know. Well, you see, when my daughter, my first child, was very young, she was traumatized. She was terrified by this loud automatic flushing toilet, that it was broken and started flushing while she was sitting there. And she was so frightened, so traumatized, that she never wanted to go back to the park where it happened, which is fine. You could live a perfectly happy life and skip one park. But here's the thing we discovered about fear. It takes on a life of its own, and it grows, and it grew. Pretty soon she didn't want to go to any park. Then she didn't want to go any place that had an automatic toilet. Then she didn't want to go any place that might have an automatic toilet. So a girl who used to love playing soccer, going shopping with her mom, going to movies, just wanted to stay home. Now, my wife and I, being the good parents that we are, we sent her to a shrink. And after 2 or 3 years in the Magic Land of Therapy, she wasn't getting really any better. And I realized this isn't working. She needs someone who can see this the way she sees it and help her confront it. So I invented someone like that. I invented the great monster detective, and that was the inspiration from the whole series. Someone who could see this as a monster. I mean, that's what it was to her.
Manifestation, like
exactly.
Coming right out,
what makes us call something a monster? It's not because it's big and nasty and grouchy and ugly and all that. Otherwise, my great Aunt Martha would be one. No, it's because it's something that makes us go, ah! And that's what this is. So she needed someone who could see this the way she saw it and help her confront it. And again, that was the inspiration that led the whole series.
And now we have Will Allen.
Yes, we do.
So you built something, and I think these are wonderful books, by the way. You sold over 100,000 copies of the first book. So I'm not the only one that thinks these are wonderful.
Yes.
These books are flying. You just got an amazing Publishers Weekly review saying it's humorous, well-written fantasy, it has a fast-paced plot, which is sometimes difficult to say because it goes so fast.
Yeah, you can't say fast-paced plot, but try saying that 3 times fast.
Difficult.
It's terrible.
So it's been really fun to kind of watch this grow up, and you've built something that's fun for kids to read. It's a middle grade book, but it's also slyly educational.
Yes. Well, that was part of my objective. I mean, I love telling stories. I could go on and on, but we don't have that much time.
Yeah.
But I never really I never really planned on doing this as a profession until I had this grand inspiration. But once I had the inspiration for these books, I said, this is something I should share and this is something I should run with. These books had to be more than just telling a fun story to me. I mean, there was no point in doing this for that. For me, number one, I wanted to make it educational because I wanted to help kids deal with fears and anxieties. I had to help my own children deal with fears and anxieties. And these books provide, well, they provide an environment in which these anxiety issues can be addressed in a non-threatening manner, which is something that earned them this slightly therapeutic value, earned them an endorsement from the Anxiety Disorders Association of America.
Right.
They won the Mom's Choice Award for Family-Friendly Media. And of course, again, because kids love reading them, they earned the LitPick Top Choice Award. This is something that's voted on by young reviewers.
That's great, because I know you're bringing this book around as well. There's a lot of things that you can teach with this book. Again, it's very fun to read, but you're speaking in schools, you're speaking in libraries, you're actually kind of on the road making this work for people. So if anyone wanted you to come, I suspect they could get in touch with you, and you have a whole thing that you can go through to help kids
I do have
deal
a
with
whole
this.
thing, and this is part of why I did this. Now, these books, as I said, were designed to be slightly educational, not just in that they provide these subtle lessons in overcoming anxiety, but also they're designed to be educational to help build kids' reading skills. I created each book in the series is progressively more challenging in reading level to help build kids' reading skills as they advance through the series. It's my background as an educator. I wanted, again, to make this more. I also, to make it educational, provide all kinds of free resources, teachers' guides, review sheets, and so forth. But the best resource that comes with these books is me. I go to schools and libraries. I've been all across the country, from coast to coast, everywhere from Matala, Alabama to, well, actually I haven't been any place that starts with the letter Z, but you get the picture. Yep. So I go everywhere, but I don't do the author lecture kids kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, if I was R.L. Stein, I could get away with that. But no, I go to schools and libraries and I create adventures. I go and I do a monster hunt where the kids track down and capture a monster that's loose in the school, that's loose in the library, that's loose in the bookstore. But again, it's secretly educational. They're secretly learning research skills without even knowing it. So it's something, because my philosophy as an educator is kids learn by doing. So, it's not weeks of note-taking, recapitulation, testing. They learn by doing it. They learn in one session. They learn how to find books in the library. They learn how to work cooperatively. They learn deductive reasoning skills. A lot of schools and libraries like that. Someone said, well, you're a writer. Could you help teach kids to write? And I said, yes, but I'm not going to teach them by lecturing them about the writing process. So I have interactive story crafting programs, workshops that I do, again, at libraries and bookstores and schools, mostly at schools. But again, not by having me lecture them. They learn story crafting by actually crafting a story with me right there on the spot, and they get to be the stars of the show.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you can even see in the book, we'll get some shots of some of the wonderful images and the design illustrations that come through the book. It's an immersive experience, and it sounds like when you go and you talk to schools, you also make that an immersive and an experiential experience for the students. It'd be great to bring you in, I think. You can learn more about the Chronicles of the Monster Detective Agency on your website, monsterdetectiveagency.com. Again, this is Jason Edwards. This book, the fourth book in the series, it's called Will Allen and the Terrible Truth, comes out next month from Rogue Bear Press. Thank you, Jason, for being with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Appreciate it.